Good morning. This is your breakfast news live from AYOGEN online television. Bringing your breakfast news to you this morning is Makanjola Oluwatosin Esther. Here are the major headlines. On our local news this morning, Ondo government warns against extortion in schools. On our breaking news this morning, federal government files fresh terrorism charges against Nnamdi Kanu. On our political news this morning, regarding the upcoming 2023 election, weakest presidential campaign posters flood Abuja. Electoral Act, consider overriding Buhari's veto now. PDP governors charge National Assembly. On our business news this morning, Nigerians' debt stock hit 39.6 trillion naira in 11 months, says the report. On our sport news this morning regarding the English Premier League, Manchester United players don't like Bruno Fernandes, says Paul Parker. On our health news this morning, Omicron now dominant COVID-19 variant in Nigeria, says the World Health Organization, WHO. On our foreign news this morning, UK government freezes BBC funding for 2 years. And lastly, on entertainment news this morning, Nollywood making young Nigerians go into morning rituals, says Sam Cliff. So full details coming up next. On our local news this morning, Ondo government warns against extortion in schools. The Edo State Government has warned teachers in the state to desist from extorting parents and guardians under the guise of collecting fees from them for the education of their wards. In a statement credited to the Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Olufemi Agagu, the state said that some teachers were creating schemes to extort parents and sabotaging the government. Agagu noted that this was in spite of the intervention of government in supporting indigent students in the state. Agagu assured that the public, the rearing and corporate teachers will be sanctioned. This is in spite of the state government's decision to pay WAEC fees for students in the state's public schools. It must be reiterated for the benefit of all that the total approved collectibles for public secondary schools is 4,450 naira for returning students and 5,800 naira for new students. For final year students, additional payment of 2,800 naira has also been approved as administrative and practical charges. Any other payments demanded from parents and guardians are illegal and unauthorized. Government therefore enjoins all stakeholders to be vigilant and report any of such confirmed extortion to the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology, he said. On our breaking news this morning, federal government files terrorism charges against Nnamdi Kanu. The federal government on Monday yesterday filed fresh terrorism charges against the embattled leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. In the amended process it filed before the Private High Court sitting in Abuja, the government increased the count in the initial charge it prevailed against Kanu. Kanu, who has been in detention since his alleged adoption from Kenya and forceful return to Nigeria, faced 7 treasonable felony charges, but will now enter his fresh plea to 15 amended charges marked FHC/ABJCR 383/2015 and signed by the Director of Public Prosecution, PDP, MB Abubakar. The charges were amended barely 24 hours before the scheduled commencement of hearing by trial Justice Binta Nyako. So the details coming up later. On our political news this morning regarding the upcoming 2023 general election, weakest presidential campaign posters flood Abuja. Presidential campaign posters of Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has emerged. Wike's campaign posters were sighted in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja. The posters were sighted yesterday on Monday at some traffic kiosks along Airport Road, Asokoro, and the Federal Secretariat. The posters had the tag "Here to Serve 2023, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, for president. The posters were sponsored by Northerners for Change Group. However, the governor, who is a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is yet to declare his intentions to contest for the presidency. Meanwhile, Bola Tinubu, Yahaya Bello of the All Progressive Congress, amongst others, have declared the intentions to run for the office of the president in 2023. Regarding the Electoral Act, consider overriding Buhari's veto now. PDP governors charge National Assembly. The People's Democratic Party PDP Governors Forum has called on the National Assembly to quickly conclude deliberations on the Electoral Act Amendment Bill and override President Muhammadu Buhari's veto as fast as possible if need be. The PDP governors made the request at its regular meeting held in Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, yesterday on Monday being the first in 2022. Where they also advised the lawmakers to delete the areas of complaint in the bill. The forum further wondered why the security operatives and the All Progressive Congress, APC-led government had failed to solve the security issues in parts of the country. The PDP government lamented the continued state of insecurity in the country, the persistent and ceaseless shedding of blood on a daily basis, and the near collapse of the security situation in Nigeria. The strategies to confront terrorists, kidnappers, bandits, and other criminals is still a major problem of the APC administration, the main opposition governors said. The governors therefore called on the president to reconsider his position and consider decentralization and restructuring of the security architecture as the most viable solution, together with proper arming, funding, and training recruitment for security agencies. Present in the meeting include Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, Udom Emmanuel, Duye Diri, Samuel Otum, Ifeanyi Okowa, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi, Nyesom Wike, Oluseyi Abiodun, Amadu Umaru Fintri, and Bala Mohammed. On our business news this morning, Nigerians' debt stock hit 39.6 trillion naira in 11 months, says the report. The Nigerians' total debt stock rose from 32.9 trillion naira as of December 2020 to 39.6 trillion naira in November 2021. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, in a presentation of the 2022 approved budget, disclosed that the government borrowed 6.7 trillion naira between January and November 2021. According to a copy of the presentation obtained by our correspondent, the new borrowing in the period under review consists of 5.1 trillion naira domestic debt and 1.6 trillion naira. The domestic debt, however, includes borrowing from the Central Bank of Nigeria, according to the presentation document. In March 2021, the Debt Management Office had disclosed that the country's total public debt stock was 32.9 trillion naira as of December 2020. In addition, 6.7 trillion naira means the total public debt stock would be about 39.6 trillion naira as of November. The DMO has disclosed that the country's total public debt increased to 33.1 trillion naira at the end of the first quarter of the 2021, from 32.9 trillion naira in December 2020, showing an increase of about 200 billion naira. In quarter 2, 2021, the total debt stock rose by 2.4 trillion naira to 35.5 trillion naira by June 2021. The increase continued by 2.5 trillion naira to hit 38 trillion naira by quarter 3, 2021, which was the last figure provided by the DMO. However, based on the minister's presentation, there was an increase of 1.6 trillion naira from September to November 2021. Reported that within the 11-month period, debt servicing gulped 4.2 trillion naira, which represents 76.2% of the 5.51 trillion naira revenue guaranteed during the period. On our sport news this morning, Manchester United players don't like Bruno Fernandes in Paul Parker. Former Manchester United defender Paul Parker has said some members of the club's current squad do not like Bruno Fernandes. According to him, members of the squad might be having serious problem with the Portuguese midfielder. The former Sporting Lisbon star has endured a tough 2021-2022 section, but scored 2 goals against Aston Villa on Saturday. Parker suggested that there are players in the Manchester United squad who don't like the way he has carried himself at times. Fernandes is a concern for me, Parker said. Just watching him and the way he betrays himself on the pitch, I'm sure there are players within that squad that don't like him and what he does on that pitch. He brings too much attention to everyone. He puts in a bad tackle and is telling people to get up. He gets tackled himself and he rolls around and he wants to show he's got a nick on his sock or something. Bruno Fernandes will hope to continue in his goal scoring from when Manchester United meet Brentford in the rescheduled game on Wednesday. Manchester United are currently 6th in the Premier League table, 6 points behind 4th placed West Ham United, but could close the gap to 3 with a win over from Brentford. On our health news this morning, Omicron now dominant COVID-19 variant in Nigeria, says the WHO. The World Health Organization, WHO, says Omicron is currently the dominant COVID-19 variant in Nigeria. On Thursday, the body said 30 African countries and at least 142 worldwide had detected the strain. The Delta variant has been reported in 42 African nations, according to the United Nations UN Health Agency. Omicron sequences in Cape Verde, Ghana, Nigeria, and Senegal are growing. Omicron is currently the dominant variant in both Cabo Verde and Nigeria, it's noted. WHO Regional Director for Africa, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti, said early indications suggest the continent's fourth wave had been steep, brief, but no less destabilizing. North and West Africa has seen rise in infections. North Africa reported a 121% increase in the last 7 days. Moeti stressed that the crucial pandemic countermeasure badly needed in Africa still stands. This is rapidly and significantly increasing COVID-19 vaccinations. The next wave may not be so forgiving, says the official. On our foreign news this morning, UK government freezes BBC funding for 2 years. The UK government on Monday yesterday announced a freeze of the BBC license fee, arguing a new funding model was needed to ease cost of living pressures and reflect a transformed media landscape. Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries told Parliament the €159 equivalent to €217,119 annual fee paid by every television set owner in the country will be fixed for the next 2 years. After that, it will rise in line with inflation for 4 years, she said, saying the rising annual cost of the compulsory charge was hurting cash-strapped families. The long-term future of the corporation should not depend on a system which criminalizes non-payers, she said. But opposition parties linked the move to efforts to keep Prime Minister Boris Johnson in a job by offering red meat to BBC critics due to anger at lockdown breakdown parties at Downing Street. Labour media spokesman Lucy Powell said monthly payments for the license fee were small change compared to proposed Tory annual tax increases and soaring energy bills totaling thousands of pounds. Is the license fee really at the heart of the cost of living crisis, or is this really about their long-term vendetta against the BBC? She asked. It's at the heart of Operation Red Meat to stop the Prime Minister becoming dead meat, she added, referring to a proposed government fight-back plan of populist mayors to boost Johnson's standing. The BBC has come under creating increasing criticism from right-wingers since Britain's diverse Brexit referendum in 2016. For alleged political bias and pushing a woke London-centric liberal agenda. But the public service broadcaster, which this year marks its 100th anniversary and has editorial independence from government, has faced similar accusations from the political left. Critics accused Johnson loyalist Dorries, who leaked details of the plan on Twitter on Sunday night after a torrid week for the Prime Minister of cultural vandalism, wrecking a world-renowned British institution. The license fee funds television, radio, and online services, including its popular iPlayer on-demand platform, as well as programming, many of which are exported commercially worldwide. During said discussions about the future of the funding model from 2028 will start, shortly, but change was needed because of evolving media consumption and technological advances. This is 2022, not 1922. We need a BBC that is ready to take the challenge of modern broadcasting, a BBC that will continue to engage the British public and that commands support from across the breadth of the UK, not just the London bubble. A BBC that can thrive alongside Netflix and Amazon Prime and all of its other challenges, which attracts younger viewers. BBC Chairman Richard Sharp and Director General Tim Davies said they were disappointed at the move, warning it would eat British cultural industries and necessitate tougher choices, which will impact license fee payers. On entertainment news this morning, Nollywood making young Nigerians go into money rituals, says Sam Clef. Nigerian music producer Sam Clef has claimed that a lot of the young Nigerians are into ritual because of what they see in Nollywood movies. Sam Clef alleged that Nollywood promotes fetish stuff in all their movies. The music producer further advised Nollywood to have better scripts, adding that everything is not religion or juju. Its tweet read, "These Igbo, Nollywood, English and Yoruba movies are the reason why a lot of young boys are doing rituals. They keep promoting fetish stuff in all their movies. Nigerian movie producer can do better. Everything must not be based on juju and religion." Recently, there have been reports of young men using human parts of women for money rituals. And that will be that on our breakfast news. To stay with us, we'll be right back shortly. Welcome back. Still on our breakfast news this morning, highlights of the major headlines. On local news this morning, Ondo government warns against extortion in schools. On our breaking news this morning, federal government files fresh terrorism charges against Nnamdi Kanu. On our political news this morning regarding the upcoming general election 2023, weakest presidential campaign posters flood Abuja. Regarding the Electoral Act, consider overriding Buhari's veto now. PDP governor charged National Assembly. On our business news this morning, Nigeria's debt stock hits 39.6 trillion naira in 11 months, says the report. On our sport news this morning regarding the English Premier League, Manchester United players don't like Bruno Fernandes, says Paul Parker. On our health news this morning, Omicron now dominates COVID-19 variant in Nigeria, says the WHO. On our foreign news this morning, UK government freezes BBC funding for 2 consecutive years. On our entertainment news this morning, Nollywood make young Nigerians go into money rituals, says Sam Clef. And that'll be that on our breakfast news this morning. Thank you for watching. I want you to continue to subscribe on our YouTube channel on AYOGEN Online Television and follow us and like our page respectively on Facebook and Instagram on AYOGEN links. And that will be that for today. Do have a very wonderful day. I remain your host, Makonjola Oluwatosin Esther. Do have a very wonderful day.